Hi and welcome or welcome back to The Books Are Everywhere. So please ignore the state of my hair. I know I need to cut my fringe very soon because it's getting on my nerves. But anyway, I am here with my 2023 anticipated releases. I haven't checked the dates of all of these, but I think this is going to be like a first half of the year. I always try and do like quarter year anticipated releases and then never keep up to date with it. So I am going to do like roughly half of the year because I think these are all in the first half, and then hopefully later in the year I will do a second half of the year. But we'll see. This is basically just kind of ones that I know about. This is very personal. I haven't trawled through like lists of sci-fi, fantasy, young adult, romance, like the genres I like to read, and properly looked into this. This is more just like what I'm aware of and authors that I've read from and I'm a big fan of and what they're releasing in the next like 6 months or so. So there is going to be a lot out there that I don't necessarily include on this list but could be like really big releases. Like I know that S.A. Chakraborty has a new book out, which sounds really cool, but like I haven't read anything by them. I haven't read the City of Brass David Bard trilogy, so if I had, I'd have probably included that on this list, but I just haven't like gone through and looked at all of the synopsises in enough detail to properly curate like a bigger list. So this is basically like personally the authors I love, what are they releasing and things like that. Also, just so you're aware, I won't be including any Harper books in this video. I have some Harper proofs that I would like to show you guys that I'm really excited for. However, they are still on strike right now. You can find information down below, but I won't be covering Harper books because they are still on strike and they are like 40 something days into the strike and still they have not come to the table. So yeah, more information about that down below. But let's dive into this video. So the first ones I want to talk about are proofs that publishers have sent me and ones that I am looking to read in the next like hopefully month or so because they are very early on in 2023. And the first one I want to talk about is Jamie by Aldi Lipinski, which I am currently reading. Apparently don't have a bookmark in here because that's chaotic of me, but I'm about 50 pages into this and I am loving it so far. I would say this is probably the best unsolicited bookmark I have ever had, so thank you so much to Hachette for sending a copy my way. I was very surprised when this turned up at my door, but this is by Aldi Lipinski, who is the same author as The Strange Worlds travel agency, which I haven't read but is a really popular middle grade fantasy series. I'm pretty sure it's fantasy. But anyway, this is following Jamie, who is a happy 11-year-old non-binary kid pretty settled into their life at primary school, and at the start of this book they kind of realise that the next step for the children at the primary school is obviously to move on to secondary school, and the two high schools in the area are separated by boys and girls and nobody has thought about where Jamie is going to go. So this one kind of goes through Jamie's story of trying to kind of figure out what is happening in the next year and what will be happening for them when they go to secondary school, and basically why has nobody ever considered this before. And this eventually results in a rooftop protest as the awareness is kind of raised around this. But yeah, loving this so far. So many important issues raised in this already, like I'm only 50 pages in, and also like the tone of it is just really good. Like it obviously is going to face a lot of difficult issues, but I feel like it's going to be handled very well, and yeah, I'm very excited for this. This one comes out in March 2023. I'm not sure on the exact date, 30th of March. Yeah, also these are not in order, I've just realised. I'm not doing this in order because I'm doing proofs first. And the next book I want to talk about is So Pretty by Ronnie Turner, which was sent to me by the author herself, who is actually a Waterstones senior bookseller, and this one comes out on January 18th, so I don't have too long before this one actually is released. I really wanted to read it before it actually comes out, but I don't know if I'm going to get there. But thank you to the author for sending me this one. This one is taglined as this winter's most disturbing, chilling contemporary gothic thriller, and it's following a kind of small town, and this is basically following a guy called Teddy who arrives in this small town of Rye and is warned against this specific person and specific establishment, and he kind of wants to know why. It's also following a woman called Ada who has escaped her damaged childhood to move to this small town as well, and is ripe for affection and friendship, and everyone in the town knows it. And then a mystery kind of unfolds about a family who vanished 50 years earlier. Teddy is looking for answers, thinking he's safe, but some truths are better left undisturbed, and the past will find him here, just as it's always found him before. And before long, it will find Ada too. This one sounds really, really cool. I feel like it's also set in the southwest, which is quite cool, because the author is from down that way as well. And I did just flick through and I swear I saw something about a North Devon, but maybe I didn't, and I'm just imagining it. Or hoping. Also looks like the chapters in this are so short, so I feel like once I start it I won't be able to put it down. But yeah, thank you to Ronnie for sending me a copy of this one. And the next one I want to talk about is Someone Is Watching You by Tessa James Mackey, and this one has an expected publication date of the 2nd of February. I feel like wherever I put this is going to catch some kind of light. But anyway, this one's I think it's a YA thriller, but it sounds quite dark. Yeah, it's from Hachette, and when Hachette sent me a message saying, "Someone is watching you, is on the way to you," I was like, glanced at the message and was like, who's watching me? But anyway, that's beside the point. Thank you to Hachette for sending me this proof copy through, and I wanted to get to this one in December because it sounds like it's also probably going to be quite a quick read because it's a YA thriller. Do tend to only read Caroline McManus, to be honest. I really need to branch out with my YA thriller, so when this one came my way I thought this one sounds really, really cool. And it's set in an abandoned prison with a deadly game going on, and the tagline says, "How far would you go for a dare?" So this one's following Nia, who would do anything to win the approval of her boyfriend Scott and his friends, especially mean girl Olivia. So Olivia dares her to explore this abandoned prison, and she sees this as the perfect opportunity to prove herself to the friendship group. But then she faces dark tunnels, distant noises and creepy mementos left behind by the criminals, but it will surely all be worth it. But it's not long before Nia and her little sister Kayla find themselves trapped inside, and then Kayla vanishes. Suddenly this feels more than a game gone wrong. Someone is hellbent on making Nia and Kayla the prison's last inmates. Sounds quite creepy. It sounds like it would be a good one for like this time of year, while it's still like wintry. So yeah, hopefully I can get to this one soon, and this one is coming out on the 2nd of February. Okay, so those are all the proofs I own, so we're going to go on to books that I haven't got yet, or haven't been released, and I don't have proof copies of them. The first one being Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare, which is the 3rd book in the Last Hours series, which I honestly haven't actually read yet. I've read The Infernal Devices, The Mortal Instruments and The Dark Artifices, but I've not gone into the other series because they haven't been completed yet. So this one, I'm pretty sure it's only going to be a trilogy, and I should actually be able to start the Chain of Gold Last Hours series once Chain of Thorn comes out at the end of the month. So this has an anticipated release date of the 31st of January. And I honestly couldn't tell you what this series is about, and I'm not sure if I really should because I feel like all of these series carry on from one another. So this one follows Cordelia Carstairs, who is a shadow hunter, and then her father is accused of a terrible crime, and she and her brother travel to London in the hopes of preventing the family ruin. Cordelia's mother wants to marry her off, but Cordelia is determined to be a hero rather than a bride. Soon Cordelia encounters childhood friends James and Lucy Herondale and is drawn into their world of glittering ballrooms, secret assignations. I'm not saying that word right, I don't know what that word is. Assignations? Assignations? Being assigned things. Surely that's what that word means, and I can't pronounce it, but anyway. Supernatural salons where vampires and warlocks mingle with mermaids and magicians. That was a hard sentence to say. All the while she must hide her secret love for James, who is sworn to marry somebody else. But Cordelia's new life is blown apart with shocking series of demon attacks devastating London. These monsters are nothing like the Shadowhunters have ever fought before. These demons walk in daylight, strike down the unwary with incurable poison, and seem impossible to kill. London is immediately quarantined. God. Quarantined. Trapped in the city, Cordelia's friends discover that a dark legacy has gifted them with incredible powers and forced a brutal choice that will reveal the true cruel price of being a hero. Why did I struggle so much with that synopsis? Anyway, that's what Chain of Gold is about, which is the first book in the Last Hour series, which I have not read yet. But anyway, that one just sounds... just like reading that synopsis makes me want to be back in Shadowhunter world, and I am very excited to finally be able to read that series. Whether I'll actually get to it this year is a different story, but we will see. Okay, the next one is one of the only books on this list I actually haven't read anything by this author, but this is That Summer Feeling by Bridget Morrissey. And I came across this somewhere, I think it was on Twitter, and it just sounded really, really good. And this one has an anticipated release date of the 30th of May. And the short synopsis for this says, it turns out you're never too old for a summer camp romance or a change of heart. When a divorced woman attends a sleepaway camp for adults only, she reconnects with a man from her past only to catch feelings for his sister instead. So this is following Garland Moore, whose husband surprised her with divorce papers over a Valentine's Day dinner. Now she's not sure what to believe anymore, except she's clearly never meant to love again. So then new friends invite her to spend a week away at this reopened sleepaway camp she and her sister decide is an opportunity to enjoy the summer getaway that they never had as children. Then she runs into Mason at this camp, the man she had a premonition about after one brief meeting many years ago. No matter how she tries to run, the universe appears determined to bring love back into Garland's life. She even ends up rooming with Mason's sister Stevie, a vibrant former park ranger who is charming as she is competitive. The more time she spends with Stevie, the signs confuse her. The stars are aligning in a way that Garland never could have predicted. Amid camp tournaments and moonlight dances, Garland continues to be pulled between the beautiful blonde outdoorswoman who makes her laugh and swoon. Summer camp doesn't last forever, but if Garland can learn to trust her heart, the love she finds there just might. This sounds like it's going to be a great one for summer. Feels a bit weird talking about it in January because now we want to be like summery, but yeah, it sounds really, really good, so I'm very excited for that one. And the next one I want to talk about, which is probably the first one you expected me to say, is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, which comes out on the 10th. Hang on, is that today? It comes out today? It's the 10th right now, so I have a feeling that Hellbent is actually out right now. It is? No way. Okay. Hellbent's out, guys, but it is definitely one of my anticipated releases of 2023, and I am going to an author event in a couple of weeks for the release of Hellbent, which I'm very, very excited for. But I will tell you a little bit about Ninth House in case you didn't know, but Ninth House is Leigh Bardugo's dark academia adult series. I have read the first book a couple of years ago, but honestly, the contents of that book have completely gone out of my brain, and I will definitely have to reread it before I read Hellbent. But it's following Galaxy Alex Stern, or Alex, who is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. She was raised in LA by a hippie mom and dropped out of school early into the world of shady drug dealer boyfriends, dead-end jobs, and much, much worse. By the age of 20, she's the sole survivor of a horrid, unsolved multiple homicide. Some might say she's throwing her life away, but at her hospital bed, Alex is offered a second chance to attend one of the world's most elite universities on a full ride. But what's the catch and why her? Still searching for answers herself, Alex arrives in New Haven, tasked by her mysterious benefactors with monitoring the activities of Yale's secret societies. These 8 windowless tombs are well known to be haunts of the future rich and powerful, from high-ranking politicians to Wall Street and Hollywood's biggest players, but their occult activities are revealed to be more sinister and more extraordinary than any paranoid imagination might conceive. Yeah, I enjoyed Hellbent, but I definitely need to reread it because I was quite confused on the first one because it's told non-linearly. Probably not a word. It's told in a non-linear format, and that kind of just went out of my head the last time I read it, the first time I read it. So I definitely need to reread it, but I am excited to delve back into it. And the next one is Godkiller by Cana, which is the first in a new adult fantasy series, which is expected to be published on the 19th of January. This is yet another one I haven't actually read anything by this author, because I think it might even be their debut book. Yeah, it's their debut. But this one has been around everywhere. It's got a beautiful Waterstones exclusive edition. I had to pre-order it, and it does look really, really good. And it's following Cassandra, who kills gods for a living, and she enjoys it. That is until she finds a god she cannot kill, the god of white lies, who is connected to a little noble girl on the run. Elagast fought in the God War and helped purge the cities of 1,000 shrines before laying down his sword. A mysterious request from the king sends him racing back to the city he destroyed. On the way, he meets a god killer, a little girl and a littler god who cannot find out about his quest. Sounds really cool. I love the cover, love the design, very exciting. And the next one I'm here to talk about is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, which is the prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, which is one of the biggest books you will ever come across. And it is also this massive high fantasy series following dragons and women and female empowerment, and it's amazing. It's been, I don't know, 2 years since I read it, and I read it in, I think, a week. I think I tried to read it in a week, and I did manage to do it. This one I can't even begin to explain because it's such a vast world. There's royalty, there's power, there's dragons, there's like beautiful landscapes, there's battles. It is just like this massive vast world but in one book, and now there is going to be a prequel. I don't know too much about the prequel, to be completely honest, but I am very excited to go back into this world, and I'm kind of glad that it's a prequel so that I don't have to reread Priory of the Orange Tree as much as I did enjoy it. It is an absolute beast, so I'm kind of glad that it's a prequel and I can hopefully just go straight into A Day of Fallen Night. But this one is being released on the 28th of February. I then have In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, which I honestly have absolutely no idea what it's about, but I do have it on pre-order because I love TJ Klune, and The House in the Cerulean Sea is one of my favourite books, and so is his other book, which, you know, can't remember the name of, Under the Whispering Door. Love that as well. I haven't read Wolf's Song or any other books by him at the moment, but I do of course have In the Lives of Puppets on pre-order because I will read anything that he writes. I loved those two books so much, and this one is being released on April 25th. So this one follows 3 robots and a human who live in the branches of this grove of trees. So Victor is the human, and then there is 3 robots, a fatherly inventor android called Geo, a sadistic nurse machine, and a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. And apparently at the start of this book, Victor, the human, salvages and repairs an unfamiliar android labelled Hap, and when he does this he learns of a shared dark past between Hap and Geo, who has a past spent hunting humans. Hap unwittingly alerts robots from Geo's former life to their whereabouts, and the family is no longer hidden and safe. Geo is then captured and taken back to his old laboratory in the City of Electric Dreams. Together, the rest of Vic's assembled family must journey across an unforgiving, otherworldly country to rescue Geo from decommission or worse, reprogramming. Along the way to save Geo, amid conflicted feelings of betrayal and affection for Hap, Vic must decide for himself, can he accept love with strings attached? Sounds like it's going to be so good. I know it's just going to be amazingly heartwarming, and just I love anything that TJ Klune writes, so I am very excited for that one, which comes out on the 25th of April. And the next one I want to talk about is Loaths to Love You by Ali Hazelwood, which is the same author as Love on the Brain and The Love Hypothesis. I've read The Love Hypothesis so far, I haven't got to Love on the Brain yet, but I know that I'm going to adore it when I do. And this one is a collection of 3 short stories, which are known as the Steminist novellas, and these are Under One Roof, Stuck With You, and Below Zero. So Under One Roof I actually have read on Kindle, and that one is an environmental engineer that discovers she has to cohabit with a roommate from hell who is a big oil lawyer who won't leave the thermostat alone. And then Stuck With You is following a civil engineer and her nemesis who get stuck in a New York elevator together. And the last one is Below Zero, which is following an aerospace engineer who is lying injured and stranded at a remote Arctic research centre, and her nemesis, who is the only person willing to undertake the dangerous rescue mission to save her. But yeah, very excited for these because I know I'm going to love them. And I have read Under One Roof and I very much enjoyed it, so I am very excited for those, and I'm hopefully going to get the Illumicrate edition, but that one has an expected publication of February 2nd, but I'm pretty sure is out now or is out in January, and it has been pushed forward a little bit, so you might be able to find it around already. And the next one I want to talk about is One of Us is Back by Karen M. Manus, which is the conclusion, I think, yeah, third and final book in the One of Us is Lying trilogy by Karen M. Manus, and this has a current expected publication of July 25th. And if you didn't know, but I'm sure a lot of you do, the One of Us is Lying is following five students at a high school that walk into detention one day and only 4 leave, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Simon never makes out of the classroom. Before the end of detention, he's dead. And it's following the 4 that are left, which is very Breakfast Club. They all have different personalities, and it's following them throughout this kind of investigation and trying to find out what happened to Simon and who killed him. And there is a sequel called One of Us is Next, which I've read and didn't enjoy as much. It's probably my least favourite Karen M. McManus book, but I will definitely be reading One of Us is Back because I read everything by Karen M. McManus. But yeah, that one has an expected release date of July 25th. So I am going to stop there, as there is another book which is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, which I will briefly give a shout out to, but that one is definitely not coming until the end of the year, or at least much later in the year, so I'm not going to mention that now, in the hopes that I will actually make another video later in the year that is covering releases for the second half of 2023. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're excited for any books this year, what you're looking forward to that's coming out in 2023. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry I feel like I haven't been able to talk. I really don't enjoy reading out synopsises, to be honest. I just feel like I can't contain the information in my brain to be able to tell you guys what a book is about if I haven't already read it. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that I was coherent enough throughout this video, and I will see you next time in another video. Bye!